But I saw online.
He has one on his desk. Yeah.
Did you submit that? Are you gonna no. So what I can do is I can just say thank you and mention some things, and then I'll just say that you're available if there's any questions about the actual process and of the business. And they might. Yeah, you can just pop down. Yeah, it's all in the agenda. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So you don't have to, but I'll just offer it up, and then they may read it.
That makes sense. Thank you. I know. It's always like it's on the chair. We're gonna try this. Our first round.
Yeah, we have more guys for you.
Are you? Yeah. No way.
All right.
Recording in progress.
So it's 6:03. Call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call vote?
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Present.
Commissioner Perez,
Present.
Commissioner Belong,
Present.
and Vice Chair Hernandez.
Present. Thank you. Okay. Would you mind, Julio, giving the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So item number 4, this item is specifically for anything not on the agenda. So this is the time for the audience to speak. So do we have any speaker cards?
I have one speaker card, Samantha Lopez.
Hello, I'm Samantha Lopez. Address is 1400 Cavalier Lane, and I wanted to come to the Planning Commission once again. I've been here before on behalf of Alan Leon's appeal, which got approved. And I'm here because I'm still dealing with the same issues that I had before, dealing with citations on my fence. And I was just hoping to come here and get some guidance and speak with Erica. The last person I spoke with was Eva Kelly, and she had told me to reach out to her, but she's no longer there. So I'm just here hoping I can get some guidance on the fence extension issue that I had before. So,
We can't really give
yeah.
comment back, but you can reach out to us. And I'll acknowledge I did get your email. I read it, and we're definitely interested in hearing further what's happened from the last time we had our commission meeting.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can just get some guidance on how to get it on the calendar, or what steps to take next.
Okay.
But thank you, guys.
Thank you. So, anyone
There's
else?
no more speakers.
Okay. So the only consent items is our April 23rd minutes. We can get the staff report on the minutes. Is there any I'm sorry. The commissioners, unless there's any questions on the minutes, I want to make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For the record, I'll abstain since I was absent.
That's 3-1. Still passes. So now for public hearing, I actually would like to do a quick survey. How many of you are here for the charter school? So if the commissioners would agree, I'd have to get a vote. We could move that item up so that way we can get a chance to have that conversation. It might be a little bit more thorough than the other items. So can I get a motion, please? To move 6.3 in front of 6.1.
I'll make a motion to move 6.3 to be the first agenda item.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, now so if we can get the staff report on item 6.3.
Yeah, ready to go. Just got to go past these slides. Okay. Good evening. Brendan Coy, Associate Planner. What? Oh, whoops. There we go. Sorry, these are both my projects. So there we go. All right. The project before you is Navigator Charter School. It's a conditional use permit 2025-1 and site and architectural review 2025-8. Project's located at 491 Tres Pinos, the site of the former Kmart department store. This image shows the entire parcel, the location of the Kmart, and the parcel for the property. So the project proposes to convert the now vacant Kmart department store for use as a charter school. The project consists of improvements to the interior of the facilities. Those improvements will accommodate a total of 1,070 TK through, that's his 8th grade, but it's through high school students. There would be 8,400 square feet of office space and a parent center. One of the next slides will show the floor plan with these improvements. There's 24 elementary school and 17 high school student classrooms, and that accommodates the total of 1,070 students.
Other improvements include a play area that's roughly 18,526 square feet. There's 192 square foot trash enclosure. There's frontage, there's landscape improvements to the frontage and the parking. And there's also parking improvements to accommodate the increased traffic. So the conditional use permit is the use of the, for use of the school in a commercial zoning district. And the site and architectural review applies to the proposed exterior improvements, which we'll see in the following slides. So this is the site plan. This shows you can see, it's a little hard to see because of the captions, but you can see the play area off to the west side, kind of the southwest side of the building. And then you can see the parking and then some of the improvements. And there'll be more detailed plans in the following slides. So this is the floor plan. So the west side of the building in yellow, that's the office space and parent center. Blue is elementary. So those are the classrooms. And I think there's cafeteria, and a library and other uses. And then the pink are the uses for the high school. The elevations to the building are largely unchanged with the exception of, I believe, 59 windows, and I think there are roughly 9 doors. The project proposes windows to the north-facing elevation, which is the entrance to the Kmart building. There are windows on the south side. And then in this, you'll see that there are windows on the north and the addition of doors on the east elevation. So landscaping, the project proposes additional landscaping along the Tres Pinos Road and Ladd Lane frontages. Currently, there's some trees, but it's sparsely landscaped. You know, it needed improving. So this project proposes the addition of trees, also shrubbery, grasses, ground cover, irrigation improvements, and that's for the street frontage and also the parking peninsulas and parking islands in the parking lot. So this is the frontage and the primary parking lot. This image shows improvements along the Ladd Lane, and then there's also landscape improvements for the retention basin, which is next to the play area. So the project meets Hollister's minimum parking requirements. There's a total parking required are 201 spaces, and even with the proposed improvements, there are still 298 parking spaces available, so the project provides plenty of parking. When we did the review, the proposed, the project, we determined that the project needed traffic impact analysis and circulation analysis due to the change in use and the change of traffic that came with that. So we contracted with the city's on-site engineering services contractor, Kimley Horn. They performed the traffic analysis. They looked at bell schedules. They looked at student enrollment, all the data that was provided by the applicant, and they came up with recommendations for improvements to the parking lot to accommodate the increased traffic. So these are just some of the kind of the key improvements. But Kimley Horn recommended raised concrete pedestrian walkways, additional accessible parking, raised crosswalks, on-site vehicle lane striping, so restriping new parking spaces and existing parking spaces, speed bumps, bike lane domes on Ladd Lane for improved safety for the bike lanes, pedestrian barricades so pedestrians aren't walking in the middle of traffic, improved street markings and signs. One of the other recommendations was that parents would be provided with educational materials. So upon student enrollment, parents would be provided with instructions for where to enter, where to exit, how to navigate around the site. So this is the site improvement plan that Kimley Horn provided. It's a little hard to see, but the yellow hash marks, that's a restriping of existing crosswalks and striping of new areas, especially in the driveways coming in, the driveways exiting. There's that little green image. That's the protected bike lane on Lad Lane where they'd put in the speed domes. There's also a raised pedestrian pathway, and that's in blue. And so that'll go from the parking lot and create a accessible path, but also a safe pedestrian path to the entrance of the building. This is the circulation plan. So again, it's hidden behind the captions, but traffic will enter in from the southern Lad Lane driveway at the rear of the Kmart building. It will go along the building, it will circle north, and then it'll go east. And so traffic in the outer lane can exit to Tres Pinos Road. Traffic on the inner lane of circulation will exit out to Lad Lane and then take a right. And this was combination of feedback from Kimley Horn and then our city engineers determining level of service and how to minimize impacts to pedestrian traffic, to vehicle traffic. Lad Lane Elementary School is south of this location, so that traffic was taken into consideration. And of course, the traffic on Tres Pinos Road. So zoning, the project complies with zoning. It's permitted with approval of conditional use permit. The project also complies with the requirements of Chapter 1718, which is the city's bicycle and parking and those ordinances. And these improvements allow the project to comply with that. It complies with the general commercial designation, general plan designation based on these land use policies. So zoning clearance with approval of a conditional use permit, this use would be allowed. It also revitalizes an otherwise unused or underutilized building and provides some beautification and upgrading. It complies with CEQA. It's exempted from CEQA based on it being an existing facility. Also, there's not an expansion of the facility. It's primarily in interior improvements and then exterior improvements to landscaping in the parking lot. So it's exempted based on the existing facilities exemption. So in conclusion, complies with zoning, complies with the general plan, and traffic impacts will be mitigated by the improvements presented tonight. So you have a couple options. First, you can adopt a resolution approving the conditional use permit 2025-1 with the conditions of approval contained in the draft resolution. You can do the same for the site and architectural review 2025-8, also with the findings and the conditions of approval contained in the resolution. You can adopt both resolutions for the conditional use permit and for the site and architectural review with findings and conditions as modified by you guys. You can deny the project or you can continue it. You can direct staff to provide additional information, clarification. Staff does recommend that you select option 1, adopt the resolution with the conditions of approval contained in the resolutions. No, we recommend you adopt the conditional use permit and the site and architectural review. Yeah. Yeah. And both have their own conditions. So does the commission have any questions or thoughts? Or if you would like, I could put it to the public and then we can discuss further. So we can open it up for public comment.
You'll open up the public hearing
Yeah, so
at 6:19.
yeah, so 6:20, we open up for the public hearing for 6.3.
The first speaker is Gary White, or Wright.
I'm Jerry Wright, and I live at 421 Irma Drive. And I spent 30 years as a school administrator or teacher, and I feel that this is a very unsafe environment for children to be. I don't know when your traffic study was done, but if you happen to be going out on Ladd Lane anytime from, I'd say, because I go to the gym at that time, and from any time from 8 to 9, that you get to traffic from all the Ladd Lane students going down, and you get the traffic for all the Ladd Lane parents coming back, and you get the traffic for all the high school going down the main street, Tres Pinos, walking or driving, and not to mention the Safeway traffic. There have been, in the last 4 weeks, 3 accidents right outside between Safeway and the on Ladd Lane. And it's not a safe place for children. I don't know when you did your traffic study, like what time of day or how long it lasts or something, but there are definite times when that's not a safe place. And it's hard to imagine that they're going to have their children coming to school at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. It's because most schools run on the same schedules. I just don't think it's a safe place. And I think that it needs to be rethought. And I also know that that building was originally scheduled for commercial use, and this is not commercial use. But I have a question. Who's paying for all the renovations? Nobody?
Have a conversation.
Okay, okay. Well, could you write it on a paper and send it to me now? Anyway, that's an interesting thought, because I don't know if they're the school district is buying, or the navigation charter school is buying the building or whatever, but it's going to be a very expensive expenditure to do all of that they're planning to do. But my main thing is, I think our schools we need more schools, but I think they need to be in safer places. Thank you.
The next speaker is Caprice Young, followed by Victor Gomez.
Hi, my name is Caprice Young. I'm the superintendent of Hollister Prep. And Hollister Prep is a public charter school, and we are authorized by the Hollister Elementary School District. In fact, we were just recently renewed for 7 years, which is the longest you can be renewed for. And our students are the same demographics as all of the other students in Hollister Prep, and our academic scores are consistently high and consistently higher. And we have very dedicated student body. We have very dedicated parents. And as a public school, we are very much part of the whole community. But in Hollister here, we're having a lot of growth, obviously. And the school district can no longer have space for our schools. In fact, so much so that this year they've asked us to move all of our middle school students off of the R.O. Hardin campus that we've been sharing all the way across town to Mays Middle School. And despite all of the inconvenience and difficulty that causes many of our families who have students who walk to school, we're doing it because we're part of the community. And at the same time, we have this long-term plan of being able to have our students all together in one site, hopefully with the high school. And if you were to approve this conditional use permit, we would then be able to go negotiate with the not the owners, but the people who control that building, Transformco, to be able to get the right to turn it into a school. And that process would take quite a long time. It's very likely that if you approve this CUP, the school would not be completed and ready to be used until 2030. So it takes a long time, and we're starting early. And just to answer her question, and is that we would, as a charter school, we would issue public bonds that would not be required to go to the voters for approval, because the money to pay for those bonds and the $29 million that we expect it to cost to do all of these improvements would come out of our operating funds over a 40-year period. That's how it would be financed. So the CUP is the start of the process, although we've been working on it for 3 years, and not at all the end. We really sincerely hope that you will vote yes, and we're obviously willing to comply with whatever conditions the staff has selected, and I'm here if you have any questions along the way. Thank you.
The next speaker is Victor Gomez, followed by Jeff Dobby.
Awesome. Thanks, Daisy. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Victor Gomez with Pinnacle Strategy here representing Navigator Charter Schools. Happy to be here before you. It's taken us about 3 years, as Capri said, to get to this point. But we're really happy with the process. Certainly want to thank Brendan, Erica, and core staff for all their work behind this. The traffic study was certainly something that we had taken into account. We wanted to make sure that we were going to be as friendly neighbors as possible. I'll tell you, I've been approached by a number of big box stores that actually thought about maybe taking this location, but unfortunately for a variety of reasons, generally around traffic, it wasn't going to work at this location any longer. It did work for Kmart, but unfortunately that was 30, 40 years ago. That use, unfortunately, I think would probably be even more problematic in that area. So anyway, we're here to encourage you to support our conditional use permit, our site and architectural application. As Capri said, it's going to take us a couple of years to get things done. These are significant improvements that we will be making to this school, but or to this site. But the operations, I'm sure you would be all satisfied with. In addition to that, the high school, as we all know, is seeing some overcrowding. We did negotiate, or I did negotiate a lease with the city for the Briggs building, which the Polytechnic Academy is currently operating in. That is a 3-year lease for a reason, because we had thought about this, where we wanted to go. This is a perfect location for it. Again, R. Hardin has become overpopulated, and this really creates more space, right, for our students, a lot of families that are moving here into our community. So with that said, on the technical side, I could certainly answer any questions you may have. We have our architect, Marty, as well on Zoom to answer any questions. Again, just encouraging approval tonight, and here to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last speaker is Jeff Dobby.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, members of the commission. My name is Jeff Davey. I'm a real estate broker from the Central Coast. I've been in this business for about 40 years. I've been focusing on commercial development, residential, but the commercial retail market is changing in everywhere. Okay, retail, leasing, retail availability, box stores. It's evolving and changing with what's gone on in the last 25 years, specifically the last 15 years. So this is not a traditional idea for a school. I agree 100%, but it's actually very, very unique. And it's a very, I think, well thought out reuse of a building that's been basically vacant for the most part the last 10 years. And it's probably a great opportunity for this community and for the school itself, which is what I think we're all here to talk about. I would like to first of all say that I have helped them to find the location, and I think it's a good location. Our work isn't done. We still have to continue with the controlling entity of the school, of the property, to move forward. One of the important steps is approval of this conditional use permit, of course, and that took some time, as you know, 3 years. But I want to commend the city staff that put all the time and effort into this, all the work, because they have been fantastic to work with, thanks to Victor and everything. Getting everything done here was difficult, and coming to this point took a lot of time and a lot of work for a lot of people, especially the city. having the open-mindedness to consider this at a place you probably would never consider this before. Having said that, I would like to encourage you to approve the recommendation and move forward so that we can take the next steps to try to make something happen on the site. And thank you for your time.
We have one more speaker on Zoom. Balas Bocanegra.
Hello. Good afternoon or good evening. I just want to make sure that the road traffic gets fixed, just because we have a lot of kids that have that walk to school. So as long as those are updated, we are okay with that. Thank you.
There's no more speakers.
No, but I just couldn't make out what she said. Sorry. I think. Oh, got it. Okay. No other speakers. So bringing it back to the commission. Any thoughts, commissioners? Questions? Yes, sir.
I believe we need to close the public
Oh,
hearing.
sorry about that. Yes. 6:31 closing item 6.3, and then now bringing it back to the commission for discussion.
So first and foremost, I did hear the speakers. I think traffic circulation is one of the big fundamental issues, and it's not just the Kmart building. It's all of San Benito County. We had a whole discussion about this. Why our roads are failing goes back 20 years ago. For those of you who are interested in circulation, Kim Lee Horn did have I think it was a study session about circulation for the entire city. So I do think that, for those who are interested in circulation, I really recommend you guys attend those meetings because your input is valuable. You can get the details from Erica. So here's the issue I also have an issue with the circulation at that intersection. I would like, personally, that the schools, Hollister School District, San Benito County Office of Education, the charter school, there has to be partnerships. We have to start busing our kids because the reality is the city's only getting bigger. We have to bring back busing. It's going to be a collaborative effort, but I think that would really fix, I think, some of the circulation issues, the traffic, the concerns. Additionally, this is something that's really poignant for my childhood. There's not a lot of green space for these kids. We talk about, it's dangerous for the kids. Well, why is it dangerous? Because we don't have enough green space. We don't have enough parks. You guys are just as much as stakeholders in our community as anyone else, right? We got to advocate for the circulation, the bike paths, the sidewalks, walkable cities. I do apologize. I got off hand. So in terms of circulation, one of the things I would like to recommend for the conditionals is looking into possibly busing, because I do see that in the future, this is going to be an issue. Last comment I would like to make is, what if this charter school fails? I don't want it to fail, but what if it fails? Is there a reclamation plan? So in other words, once those improvements are made, does this devalue the building? For example, does it become harder to sell? Because I've seen a lot of buildings where they do these retrofits, and then a applicant or is the city going to be on the hook, or is the next applicant going to be on the hook to basically make those changes? So that's one thing that I really would like is to ask. I don't know. I have time to ask questions, or
I think, again, that is a matter between the property owner and the tenant, so it's not really the purview of the planning commission. to get into the property negotiation. At this point, it's a privately owned building, so it would not be on the city hook. I can confirm that,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
and I think ultimately it's specific to the success of it has to do with the negotiations between the property owner and ultimately the applicant.
Yes, but
And
again,
that's
purview of the
outside of our
commission.
purview as a commission.
Purview of the commission is we have the conditional use permit here, and we need to stick to the
Yeah,
conditions.
I think the
of
simple
that.
answer is
Yeah.
they wouldn't be growing into a brand new facility. It's a lot bigger if they were not successful as a school.
I would also venture to say we heard that they were going to take operational funding to pay for long-term bonds. So that sounds like to me that it's a long-term commitment between the property owner and the organization.
I have
So
a few questions regarding circulation. as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I thought in the presentation, one of the exits, there's two exits once you were leaving the school, one towards Trespinos, which is the traffic light, and the other one was at Lad Lane. Is that true? Maybe the project
turn your
manager.
mic on.
Excuse me, I'm gonna pull up the plans. Unless Brendan, do you know off the top of your head?
There was two exits from this property or from the school, one towards Trespinos and the other one was towards Lad Lane. Is that true? Yes. Okay. At Maze during, circulation time, they always enforce one direction. Is that a condition they could do here on Lad Lane to get that traffic out sooner?
Yeah, and I believe the Brendan microphone.
I'm loud, but I'm not that loud. I believe the exit out on the Lad Lane goes one direction, so I believe it goes right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
it
it's already
doesn't,
been accounted for in the mitigation efforts?
in the drawings, yeah.
The drawings,
But
okay.
if it's a condition that needs to be included, that can be done.
Yeah, because if you're waiting on the traffic light, right, on Trespinos,
Yes.
it's just gonna create just a long wait time.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna further exacerbate that issue.
Yeah, and I think that's why Kimley had it engineered where traffic would go south on Lad
Okay.
instead of cutting across.
If I could add to that, Kimley Horn reviewed both the traffic numbers coming from the school, generated by the school, as well as how does those numbers impact the roadway in the area. So they looked at key specific intersections in that area to see what is the direct impacts to this neighborhood. That's part of their circulation study that they did, and from those numbers and from what they found, that's how they came up with those that list of improvements that's in your staff report. And then the applicant then incorporated all of those into their plans so that you could visually see it. So it was reviewed in quite in depth to study what those impacts are to mitigate them to their best ability possible.
So is there a specific drop off and pickup, direction, like come in on a certain way and then you exit out a certain way?
Yeah, so all incoming traffic will be south, the South Lad Lane entrance, so right behind the Kmart building. And then there will be two exits out onto Tres Pinos, but most of the traffic will go out onto Lad Lane.
There is a specific area.
There is, yeah.
I think it says right here, so one of the items specifically says designate the northern driveway along that lane, exit only, and the southern driveway as enter only during drop-off and pickup periods. Use traffic cones and signage to both driveways to reinforce these restrictions during the drop-off and pickup periods. Then remove these devices outside of these periods. So there's a plan for pickup and drop-off.
Yeah.
And my other question is, right now, I think the charter petition is approved for K through 8, and I'm not sure who can respond to this question. Just for the feasibility of this project, again, just my background is in charter schools, I understand the effort that it takes to sustain and grow them. And so this is future facing. Who would approve the high school portion of that school? If it's Hollister School District is responsible for K through 8, would the high school portion of this future school be under San Benito High School? Like, who would approve that?
I'd have to defer to the applicant.
And is
to
that
answer
part of this
question.
project? Because
The project includes the overall conditional use permit, which is we're just
future
looking at the use. So it's what is that max enrollment going to be? And because again, high school students can in theory drive themselves, we need both of those numbers separated out. So this is the max We're looking at the max enrollment. And then it is up to the charter school to work with the school district, both the elementary school and the high school school district, as far as what the requirements are with the state and then with the school boards to actually operate their project in terms of those requirements. We're looking at the use. What is this impact of the use on the city?
That would be like a future question then at that point.
Yeah, when they got to high school, they'd have to work out all those requirements as required for their.
This is a partnership with an already existing charter high school, Polytechnic Charter High School, and they're tiny now, but their goal is to grow to be able to fill that space.
So
The space that would be occupied by the TK8 would be the exact same population that we have now with the addition of 64-year-olds.
and then so would Polytechnic Academy, would they vacate the Gavilan building?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, we're getting further away from our agenda topic that we're
I'm understanding the
agendized
population that's
on.
Yeah,
gonna
no,
occupy the building, so this is into consideration. So what I'm hearing is that that need is already exists, and it will exist by maybe 2030 if that's how long this project takes. So that's why I was asking that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I noticed that 17 classrooms for high school, for that number is about 29 per classroom. That's, again, from experience, that's not a lot of space, and students don't always, divide equally into the room.
They
So
don't
what is
come
the
out
plan
each
for
other.
overflow when you have one class that needs more students versus the others?
So the instructional model that Polytechnic follows is actually a lot of the students take courses at Gavilan College. So they'll be using the Tripper, which hopefully will be expanded to go all the way down to the new Gavilan College space. So a lot of our high school students will be taking the local Tripper from the high school to Gavilan College for a considerable portion of their courses, because they'll be dual enrolled with college at the same time as being in high school. So they don't need quite so much space.
I see. Thank you for clarifying that.
And if the commission is done, I'd like to say I hope the applicant heard, because there was some very good suggestions here of consideration from the commissioners, such as looking at bringing back busing to do that. I don't mean to minimize that at all. We just need to stick to our agenda. So
no, and
again,
I
thank you for the
appreciate that,
discussion.
Jeff. Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it's a hard thing to weigh a little bit, just because I understand that there's certain elements of our jurisdiction that applies to, ultimately agreeing with the project or creating different conditions. Regardless of that fact, I do appreciate the commission's kind of perspective, because one, we're not up here to be box checkers. We're part of the community. We want to make sure that we understand the implications, not just today, but going into the future of these projects. So with all due respect, I understand, but ultimately when it comes to our decisions, they're going to be specific to whatever's within our jurisdiction, whether we can say yes or no, right? So, but as far as the dialogue, I think it's a good thing that we get into these conversations to understand a little bit better the implications.
And I do understand the concern over the traffic, but again, as a parent that does pickups and drop-offs, that's almost in every school. Like one is drop-off and pickup time. That issue exists in other intersections as well. It's just this one is very public and it has a more heightened concerns, which I totally understand. And I don't know if we know enough to feel that those mitigation efforts are enough, but I do see the efforts being made to address some of that.
I mean, and I think specific to that, which is safety, right, which has to do with our decision process, that is the reality that it's not going to be on our agenda. It's not going to be in any of the staff reports or presentation, is where they came from, the reason why they're leaving, the expansion necessary, the risk of staying there, right, which I know there's risk because they're at capacity. I'm seeing it, I drive through that area, so I see it every day. There's literally gridlock, and there's one street that literally gets completely blocked off and I've seen parents double parking on roads, literally because they're in a hurry. I've actually seen parents parking in people and basically parking lots that aren't theirs. So there's all these implications that we really should be talking about why these kind of conversations are important, specific to this project. Again, we're only going to decide on the merits of this project, but understanding the why is, I think, a good point.
Yeah, and I think this will also shift traffic from other parts of town, right? If this happens, that congestion is gonna exist, where they are right now, and then at Maze where part of the students are gonna be, will be housed at in the meantime. So this already exists. It's just, if there could be a plan, which I'm seeing parts of it that can deal with this. And again, I think it's a good use of the building, right? Because, commercial is changing overall. And there's plans to occupy space, and they know we have the demand in the town because the district can no longer house these students in their buildings. So we do have to think outside the box.
Yep.
I would like personally to add that language, or at least a recommendation to city council that that one of the conditions be, just begging the question about at least getting the charter school to the table to talk about busing, to get the stakeholders, to get the school districts at the table for the next conversation. I'm trying to look at this holistically, because a lot of times the county, the city, we're kind of just working in our own little bubble, but we're creating problems down the road. Just to look at it from, like I said, the holistic.
Well,
Sir, we've thank you, sir. We've actually already begun conversations around busing, particularly with the LTI and the Tripper services, and because our students would love to be able to take buses to school rather than have their parents have to drive them. So we're strongly supportive of that direction, and so if that can be, that's a direction we would want to go in, whether or not you put that in the conditions, because it's so much easier for parents.
What's the LTI, if you could?
LTA.
Yeah, sorry, LTA, the local transit agency.
COG.
Yeah,
COG.
COG.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I would love to expand on that. Yeah.
Conversation with the
COG. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been having conversations already with them because they're helping with the circulation between the R.O. Hardin neighborhood and Maze for our middle school students. And they're going to have their transit plans that come out in July. And now we would have a good solid 3 years to figure that out. And who knows where people are going to live at that point. But we know there are going to be more of them.
Okay.
I mean, if I can make a recommendation, Commissioner, we can make that as a separate item to consider, because I don't think this is unique to Hollister Prep. It's, I think, citywide. So it could actually be something the city council could consider when it comes to, transportation or so maybe we could do that separately, but specific to this project, I mean, they're limited to what they can do today. So any other questions or discussion?
Yeah, I had a quick question on the play area. I see that it says playground surfacing. Is that going to be a par in place rubber, tan bark?
That hasn't been determined yet, but it sure as heck will not be concrete. What we're envisioning is the kind of rubber that is rain resistant, but also makes it so that the kids don't crack their heads open if they fall. And so, yeah, that's what we're looking towards.
I think the rubber's a little bit on the toxic side. I don't know if that would be a discussion. And I don't know if that's within our purview, but
we won't use the toxic substances. We have to follow very specific guidelines because of being a school that preclude us from using that. We'll use the same kind of substances that you would have in a normal public park.
And it'll be fenced off, of course, right?
Absolutely, for the safety of the kids.
Thank you.
I would also consider shade, because they're going to be pretty exposed there at the top of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably do the kind of shade shelters that have the solar on top.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
No. No more. If there's no more questions, if I can get a motion to approve item 6.3, conditional use permit and site architectural review of the Navigator Charter School located at 491 Tres Pinos Road.
I'll make a motion to approve item 6.3.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Congratulations.
Just for administrative, when we have council commission discussion like that, Chair, if you would like to invite the applicant back up, I would like that direction from the chair to come to invite them back up to address
That's
further
process.
questions. Other commissioners, if you can not wave to people, it needs to come through the chair, please. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so 4-0 approved. Thank you. We can move to item 6.1. Conditional use permit for veterinary clinic located at 210 San Benito Street. Staff report, please.
Sorry, I wasn't listening when you did it. Did you make a motion for both the SNA and the CUP?
I said the whole
Okay.
state, yeah, including basically, yeah, the CUP and the architectural review.
Okay.
Should we defer? Clerk, does that satisfy you, what you feel you need?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I just read the whole thing, so that way it's clear. It's the veterinary clinic.
Sorry, it's taking me a minute.
It's brand new.
Ooh, hello. The item before you is a veterinary clinic located at 210 San Benito, which is located within the downtown mixed-use zoning district. And a vet clinic in the downtown mixed-use zoning district requires approval of a conditional use permit before the Planning Commission. The project is a 1,959 square foot veterinary clinic, which has the typical rooms, reception area, etc. The hours of operation proposed are Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. Services are by appointment only, no walk-ins. There will be 5 employees, including the veterinarian, but only 3 employees on site at one time. There are existing parking spaces. There are 19 for the entire site. There are 10 directly in front of this unit. Oop, hello. This is the site plan of the building. It's kind of a split level building, but as you can see, there are spaces located at the rear by the vet, and then there are spaces at the front where we have 2 existing tenants. From the front, you can see again the split level. The existing tenants are a tattoo shop and a tax preparer, which are both by appointment only. They're very infrequently open. Tax preparers being open during specific times of the year. They are both, again, by appointment only. These parking spaces are mostly empty, so there is a variety of parking spaces at the site that are open. Again, the building from other angles. In conclusion, this is an existing building. It's a use moving into a building. There is more than enough parking on site. Staff calculated the parking. And with the number of spaces on site plus the 2 existing uses, there is more than enough to cater to the number of appointments they'll have per day. And this vet clinic will further enhance use of the building, moving into an empty space, providing more activation of that area throughout the day, which meets the goals of the general plan. You have your standard 4 options, but staff is recommending that you adopt a resolution approving the conditional use permit.
Okay. Thank you. It's 6:54. If I can open up the public hearing for item 6.1.
First speaker is Carson Clower, followed by Freddie.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Dr. Nadine and the proposed vet clinic. My name is Carson Clower. I'm with K2 Solutions. I am a registered lobbyist with the City of Hollister. And it's my pleasure today to hopefully help you guys bring another vet clinic to town. This is a need that has been ongoing for probably 25 years now. I know that vet care is hard to come by and it's expensive here in town. And this is kind of a unique situation where we have a needed use available space, appropriate zoning, and a qualified applicant. I'd like to thank staff on all their work the last 2 months. It's really been an impressive endeavor on behalf of Dr. Nadine herself, but also staff in the planning department, fire, building. It's really been neat to see the responsiveness, the collaboration. This is more for you guys than anything, but I got the conditions of approval, the proposed list about 2 weeks in advance. That's like a week and a half sooner than we usually get them. So big changes around here. It's super helpful. And staff, especially Magda, who was our contact, was willing to discuss the conditions and answer questions. And that's just a little different, and we appreciate it. I think the presentation was super straightforward, that the site's kind of really good for this use, plenty of parking. The hours are pretty limited. The number of employees are pretty limited. So we don't think there's going to be a huge impact on the neighborhood, especially when you take into consideration the other uses nearby. So that's about it from me. If you guys have any questions about how the facility will actually run, Dr. Nadine's here to answer those. She's been a big member of the community for the last, 10, 15 years as part of SNP and also Pet Friends. So great member of the community, hoping to kind of expand what she does here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Freddie.
Good evening. I welcome veterinary services for this community. I'd like to address the building area and the traffic. I'm a resident of Hill Street, and the street going up to Park Hill is basically a one-way street. If there was a two-way street, there would be a traffic line. There are events, sporting events in Park Hill, and traffic going up and down constantly. It's a traffic issue that like it jams up towards the end of the street, meeting the San Benito, San Felipe streets coming in the town. There's issues with from San Benito Street coming into Hill Street, crossing traffic because there's no separate lane to cross in. The accidents on the street is frequent. The area around the building has some issues. The curb near the building has a fire lane. It has a fire curb. There is red markings on the curb. It's fading. However, the last tenant that was there was a driving class, and all the cars parked on the fire lane. All the cars parked on the opposite side of the street. A one-way lane prevents fire and emergency vehicles from trying to get up there if they need to attend to the tenants that live on Park Hill and up into the cul-de-sac. I'm addressing those because I myself live there, and I deal with a lot of traffic, speeding going up and speeding coming down. The racer wants to see how fast the car can push up there, or cars coming down as fast as they can, and how well their brakes are working. And down the street is that little choke point into the cross street. And I'm kind of concerned about that also. Sorry.
Thank you.
That's it?
Thank you.
There's no more speakers.
Seeing no more speakers, bringing it back to the commission. Questions, thoughts?
Could we close?
Oh, we have to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
It's 7:00. We can close the public hearing, item 6.1. Now hearing the commission. Any questions or thoughts?
Are you guys all using your mic?
It's on. Just gotta get closer. That was a pretty straightforward presentation. I don't know if there's really much. I mean, granted, one of the speakers' concerns, kind of outside of the. I don't know if it's close enough to Hill Street for it to have any. Was there any consideration of that with the potential risk?
So fire did review it. This is an existing building. Any use can go in this building. The potential is for, like, if this was all offices, the parking car demand could be much higher. You have limited number of employees to 3 at any one time, which means 3 appointments at a time. That's 6 people. That falls within what this building is intended for. The larger issues of traffic in the area. Of course, if anyone is parked in a fire lane, you can always call the police department. They will come tag them. No one should be parked in a fire lane. But with the larger issues of, let's say, traffic in the area, which is like a broader area, that's more of a function of, does the city want to change anything? How do we move forward with certain things? But as far as this project, tailoring the concerns to this project, which is what we have to look for, any conditional use permit. With a conditional use permit and, let's say, a vet clinic, we're really looking at parking noise impacts, like, on the surrounding neighbors. It's a little, this building is off the downtown. It's not downtown center where we require that conditional use permit, because if you are in a building in the downtown that's mixed use and someone were to put a vet clinic below you, you might have some concerns about noise. And so that's why a conditional use permit is required for this one. They're just on the outskirts.
Okay. If there's no other questions, so it sounds like that issue is separate from the project itself, and that could be brought up at a council meeting if there's any other issues with Hill Street.
Through the chair, is it appropriate for me to make a motion?
Sure. Yeah, if we could make a motion for item 6.1.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a conditional use permit 2026.5 for the veterinary clinic located at 2010 San Benito Street.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Congratulations. So now on to item 6.2, conditional use permit 2025 for the Pentecostal Church located at 401 San Felipe Road.
Me again. There we go. All right, so the project before you, conditional use permit 2025-5, and then there's a minor S&A site and architectural review for some improvements, and that's 2026-6. This is for the Pentecostal Church. The project's proposed for 401 San Felipe Road. So the project's proposed for at the site of the former Power Sports Honda dealership. It shares property with the Fusion Kids gymnasiums. It's like a gymnastics gymnasium, and then next to that is Compost Foods, which is a Whole Foods distributor. The project proposes converting the site of what is now a vacant auto dealership, the former Power Sports, for use as a church. The improvements will be largely interior, with no change to the exterior of the building. Interior improvements include a 2,944 square foot sanctuary, and that's at the at the site of the existing, or what was the former showroom. There's 140 square foot conference room, 134 square feet of office space. There's a kids club. The project will propose to expand the bathroom facilities, There's 119 square foot baptistry, and then 209 square feet of kitchen space. The project also proposes frontage landscaping improvements. There's also a proposed development of a shared trash enclosure for all 3 tenants at the property, and then replacement of the existing monument sign. And the monument sign will continue to advertise all 3 tenants. So just like the image before, this is the site. So it'll occupy the building. The trash enclosure will be to the rear of the building, facing Fusion Kids and Compost Foods, creating easier access and more accessible path to the trash enclosure. And there are improvements to landscaping as well. This is the proposed, these are the proposed interior improvements to the building. The sanctuary will have about 136 seats. Because there aren't any improvements to the exterior of the building, it just provided the elevations for the trash enclosure. It's your standard 3-stream trash enclosure. And it'll be located in the rear of the building. This image shows improvements to the landscaping. So right as it exists, there's 3 palm trees. This project doesn't propose to remove the palm trees. Instead, it adds 2 additional street trees. They're evergreens, in addition to grasses and shrubbery and ground cover. This is the proposed monument sign. So the existing sign is on the left. The sign on the right is the proposed sign. The existing sign is old. It once was illuminated, but I don't think that's the case anymore. And so just as an attempt to beautify and kind of revitalize the site, since it's been underused or vacant for so long, we've worked with the applicant to propose a new sign. It uses the existing structure, substructure, and it builds on top of that. It also is reversed. You can see the existing sign encroaches into towards the street a little bit. This one is turned into the parking lot. So in reviewing this project, we determined that existing parking, as it currently is insufficient for, or was insufficient for all 3 uses. So the church proposed 136 fixed seats. And based on our municipal code, that would require 34 parking spaces. Based on the requirements for the Fusion Kids Gymnasium, that would require 67 parking spaces, and Compost Foods would require 6 parking spaces. There's 66 parking spaces on site. So based on that, parking was insufficient. So we moved to look to reduction in off-street parking. And for that, we worked with the applicant to do a parking survey. So to do the parking survey, they looked at the days and times that overlapped with 2 or all 3 of the tenants on site. So that was Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays between 7:30 and 9, Sundays between 11 and 2. That's when the church proposes their service. And at that time, Compost Foods and or Fusion Kids would be operating. I believe Fusion Kids was the longer of the overlapping uses, operational uses during that time. So based on the parking survey, we identified that on Wednesdays, 19 vehicles parked was the maximum intensity of parking at that facility. And then on Sundays, I can't see what's under the caption, but we essentially determined that Fusion Kids, based on the reduction in parking standards, the reduction in on-site parking, that Fusion Kids would be best suited with the parking requirement of 19 instead of the 67 based on the municipal code as it's written. A total of 59 parking spaces would be required to support all three uses on Wednesday and Sunday during operational hours. There's 66 parking spaces on site. Based on our analysis, there was plenty of parking to accommodate all three uses. Any future parking changes, we would work with the applicant will work with staff to find a way to provide adequate parking. And that would we have a condition in the resolution to require a shared parking agreement. So that would be with neighboring tenants. Zoning, so the project complies with is consistent with the North Gateway zoning district as churches are permitted with approval of a conditional use permit. And based on the parking study and the determination that parking should be reduced, it complies with Hollister's municipal code for parking and pedestrian and bicycle, that code section. General plan complies with the North Gateway commercial designation. It meets a land use for revitalizing existing commercial space. The space is underutilized, so this would revitalize it and reutilize the space. That also provides services and amenities to Hollister. And as the site is designed, provides internal circulation and limits the number of entry and exit points onto San Felipe. CEQA, like the Navigator Charter School, it's exempt from CEQA as it's an existing facility, and a majority of the improvements are relegated to the interior of the building. In conclusion, the project complies with the land use policies of the general plan. It's compliant with the consistent with the North Gateway zoning district, and parking is sufficient for all operating hours of the three uses when in operation together. So recommendations, you have a couple options. The first option, you can adopt a resolution for conditional use permit 2025-5 with subject to findings with the conditions of approval contained in the resolution. And that is also the same for minor site and architectural review 2026-6. The minor site and architectural review was for the landscaping, the trash enclosure, and the sign. You can adopt both resolutions, conditional use permit 2025-5 and site and architectural review 2026-6 with findings and conditions as modified by Planning Commission. You can deny the project, you can continue it and provide additional information, or we can provide clarification. Staff does recommend that you adopt both resolutions with the findings and conditions of approval as presented tonight. That's it.
Thank you. So is there any public comment? Oh, we need to close the hearing. Open the hearing, I'm sorry. It's 7:13. If we could open up the hearing, any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay, hearing none, close the hearing, 7:13. 7:14 now. And commissioners, is there any thoughts or questions? Yes, sir.
I have one question. And perhaps I may be out of my purview. I'm speculating. What is the redevelopment potential for once it becomes a church? Does the applicant own the parcel?
It's owned by KNS as the property owner.
Okay, it's owned by KNS. Okay, so the reason why I ask is because of SB4. I just was curious. I know that the state has given a lot of leverage to religious institutions, but that's if they own it, correct?
I believe that's the case.
For that Senate bill, they have to own the property and they had to have been a church for a certain number of years before they can build the housing. So there's so many requirements in that Senate bill.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
that was my only concern. Sounds like we're good.
Yep.
That's it.
Is Fusion aware of the recommendation to reduce their allocated parking?
They've been in communication with the applicant. I have not personally communicated with Fusion.
So
But
we don't know how they feel about that recommendation.
So if I can, our code is set up to require a specific number of parking spaces. And for whatever reason, that kid's gym has a really high parking requirement. So high that it threw the parking counts for the whole site out of whack. So as a solution, one of the solutions to allow them to see if they could come in this building was for the applicant to go conduct a parking survey to see how many spaces are actually being utilized. And it's not the 67, and I could be wrong about that number, in the code, it was only 19. So we reduced what their parking requirement is. We're saying, yes, the code says you're 67, but that doesn't actually match what's going on here. So through a parking reduction of that, we're setting their parking standard to 19. It doesn't affect anyone's operations. It doesn't change how things function out there. It's just realizing that in this case, the code is wrong. It anticipates much higher of a demand than that kid's gym actually generates.
That's code for the city of Hollister?
That's for this. So in the city of Hollister, we have 2 parking, let's say, reductions. There's 3, I guess you could say. You can get a parking reduction for shared parking, and that's actually common in like a church, for example, where a church wants to go into an industrial building. Industrial buildings really don't have a lot of parking, but they operate at a different time than most industrial uses, so they might reach an agreement with their neighbor to use their parking spaces. That then gives them enough. Technically, it's not on-site parking, it's shared parking, so you can get a shared parking agreement. We have a parking reduction offering, or we have the parking reduction for a particular use. So in this case, we're using the church's conditional use permit to set the parking for the kids' gym to allow them to operate this church at that site. Because as you can see with the chart that Brendan showed you, there really is enough parking there. Our code just has the automatic assumption that there wasn't based on the code requirement for the kids' gym.
I would point out to the commission that this is a great example of the planners applying a sensibility standard to the project, and that they followed up with the survey that further supports that reduction. And so this is a good thing for this site.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're flexible in creating an amendment process for it.
and there's a vehicle to get to that realistic parking requirement.
What is the current attendance, just to see if that's going to be sufficient parking for them?
Oh, one more time.
The current attendance for that church, if they're operating right now somewhere.
We based it on the 136 seat count, and that was reduced down from, I don't remember what it was before, but they reduced it down to get closer and make it work with the parking.
Okay,
So we also factored in.
They could have more.
What's that?
They could have more attend, potentially. Because they reduced it because of the parking limitation.
There's a little available parking.
There's a little available parking. They reduced their seat count. If they wanted to amend their conditional use permit in the future, they wanted to get moving, and they're not going to hit max enrollment right away. We would wish that for every conditional use permit you can hit, let's say, your maximum potential with your conditional use permit. In this case, we couldn't do it because of the parking situation. Now, again, available to them is a parking reduction with shared parking. They can share, if they could come to an agreement with neighbors where they can use their spaces. There is enough flexibility in that area where there's plenty of places that they could come to an agreement with a neighbor, and then they could increase their enrollment as necessary if they wanted to. Or maybe they get so big they have to find a very big space somewhere else in the city, and we'll be talking about a different space in the future. But there is avenues for them if they want to expand.
And we've included that as a condition as well.
Question to the two planners: do we know what the maximum seats were based on the building size? even though I know they reduced it to 136.
I'm not sure how many spaces they could put in there to max out the full building. An architect would design that. But again, any time we start adding the seats, then there's a parking assumption. And with, that is in an area where there's not many residential units and people are going to drive and there's, not a fixed bus service. So that people will be driving, there'll be an impact. But they can accommodate the proposed sanctuary size with that lot that is out there now.
I did speak with our building official. I don't remember the number. He said that based on occupancy, there could be a lot more people in the building. It's just parking the way it is.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts? If not, I'd ask for a motion. It's item 6.2, yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt item 6.2 and staff recommendations.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Thank you. So now on to item 6.4. Conditional use permit for alcohol sales for Whiskey Creek Bar, located at 201 5th Street. Staff report, please. I think this one's short too.
This is a conditional use permit for Whiskey Creek Saloon, which operates at 201 5th Street. If it sounds familiar, it is currently operating. It has been in operation for many years. They did operate previously without a conditional use permit. The new owner is trying to work through some issues. One of them was the need for a conditional use permit, so he has applied for it, and so it is before you tonight. They sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits. They do have an ABC liquor license. The interior consists of a bar with music. The hours of operation are Monday through Sunday from 10 to 2 a.m. and they do have a security guard. Staff did route the project to all of our departments, including the police department, who was weighed in on the project, and we've included our standard conditions of approval for our alcohol sales / a bar use. And so they have the same conditions of approval that we've placed on all of our other recent bars, which is surveillance cameras, being required training to ensure that you don't serve anyone underage, posting said signs that we don't serve anyone under 21, and then prohibiting the exterior display of any advertising signs for alcoholic beverages. This project is exempt from CEQA because it is an existing facility. The proposed use of this space is consistent with uses in the downtown area. Conditions of approval were included into the project to reduce any impacts on the surrounding area, and the applicant is abiding by those conditions. It's located within the city's parking assessment district, so no parking is required to support the use. And again, as mentioned, this bar has been in operation for several years, and this is a way of cleaning up the requirement for a conditional use permit. So we do have the standard 4 conditions. Staff is recommending that you approve the conditional use permit and allow them to continue to operate.
Thank you. So if I can, it's 7:23, open up item 6.4 for public hearing. Do we have any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay, seeing none. 7:23 again, closing the public hearing. Commissioners, there's really not much thought to this. I don't know what you guys have any questions.
Why is this in front of us again? I'm not.
So the Whiskey Creek was required to have a conditional use permit, and for several years, the city's been trying to get them to apply for one. We have a new owner, and so he has come in to get the conditional use
Also,
permit.
that's not normal standard practice anyways.
No, normal standard practice is I am a bar, I want to operate in the downtown, I come.
As long as you have your license and
You come, I would come to you and say, can I operate? And you would say yes or no. This one's just been operating for so long. But we want them to have the conditional use permit. The reason we want a conditional use permit is the owner can change. This owner has a security guard, is abiding by these conditions of approval, but he could sell the business at any time. And you want to have, especially on a bar, you want to have conditions of approval that require things like a security guard and having the surveillance and not letting people loiter and cleaning up your trash and debris. Because if you did have a user that moves in and they aren't abiding by their conditions of approval, or they are creating a nuisance, you can revoke the conditional use permit and they can't operate anymore. That's the reason we want the conditional use permit.
it's an accountability measure.
Yes, and it's not that he's, operating in a bad way and we have an issue with it. It's that we're trying to clean that up. So there is a conditional use permit for that bar.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is item 6.4. So any other questions or thoughts? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt item 6.4 for the Whiskey Creek conditional use permit.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. So on to item 6.5, conditional use permit again to allow the replacement of an existing 1,185 square foot garage with a new 1,750 square foot garage with a height of 25 feet, located at 1640 Cienega. Staff report. This is residential.
This is a residential project, yes. This is the replacement of an existing garage with a new detached garage located at 1640 Cienega Road. In this case, you might not normally see these types of structures, but because the structure is over 15 feet in height, it requires review by the Planning Commission. So they do plan on demolishing an existing garage that is 14 feet in height, and then replacing it with a new garage, slightly larger, that is 26 feet, 6 inches in height. So it is over that 15 feet. The garage is for private use only. They cannot operate a commercial business or any sort of business out of it. It is for a residential garage. This is the existing site plan. It is kind of hard to read, but the house faces the street, and then at the rear of the property is the existing detached garage in the kind of hashed gray area. Proposed, you can see it does get slightly larger. It does meet our setbacks of the zoning ordinance, but it is basically replacing that existing garage. It complies with the required 5-foot setbacks in the zoning ordinance. There are actually no structures to the rear of this property. It's an existing vacant lot. There are, located on the side, there are new residential structures that were constructed. As of right now, and there could be some in the audience, I haven't received any objections, questions, or comments on the structure. So staff is, again, you do have your standard 4 conditions, but staff is recommending approval of the detached garage with the height.
Okay. So if we can open up the public hearing, item 6.5 at 7:26. Any public comment?
We have no public comment.
Okay, closing the hearing. Any questions or thoughts, commissioners? Not me. Seems pretty easy.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional. It's not a conditional use permit.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion to adopt
what are the
6.5.
We did try to clean this up in the code amendment because we used to have a number of things in that use list that weren't really conditional use permits. So we cleaned them up to their appropriate permit type. But this is in a different section of the code, so it hasn't gotten cleaned up yet. The purpose of a conditional use permit is you may want to revoke it. I can't imagine that at any point we're going to go to this person and say, we're revoking your right to have this garage, unless they were operating something commercial out of it, but then we would go a different method anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is, hopefully one day we'll get cleaned up.
We'll clean it up. Okay.
I guess one more question before you continue.
Sure.
Why is it not a barn, like at that height? Why isn't it considered a barn versus a garage?
So they're using it as a garage. and our code actually, it's a detached accessory structure. So a detached accessory structure could be anything. It could be a shed, it could be a garage, it could be a barn. They're saying it's a garage. That's their terminology for it, and a garage makes sense to most people. But as far as our code is, it's a detached accessory structure.
Could it be like an accessory dwelling unit or a livable unit?
So in theory, it could get switched at some point to an ADU. Our code and the state allows the conversion of any detached accessory structure into an ADU. They have to go through the ADU process.
The only reason I bring it up is that height. I'm just wondering about the height, you know, for the bottom level garage, top level, the livable unit. It's just, I don't know. It's not.
26-foot ADU, is that normal?
It's like a 2-story, right?
Is it 2-story?
Or is it in the entirety, or is the peak 26 feet?
The peak is 26.
But it's not.
So it's hard to like limit this based on an ADU of what could happen because the ADU laws are so fast and changing anyways.
And they would have to require it.
They would have to,
It would have to be an application for an ADU.
they'd have to submit an application for an ADU. The state does allow conversions. It's a requirement we have to follow, but those setbacks are higher, or the setbacks are larger than what would be required for an ADU. So it's actually set back a little bit further than they'd have to anyways. But it could, in theory, with approval of an ADU permit, at some point be turned into an ADU, much like any other structure that we see, a shed, a patio cover, a carport. They can all, in theory, be turned into ADUs.
It's just an interesting
ask, is there any requirement on the height, restriction on the height for the structure at this location?
If it was turned into an ADU?
No, just as it's being requested.
Well, any accessory structure is limited to 15 feet in height, and you can get a conditional use permit to increase the height.
Okay.
And up to this point,
ADUs are very complicated. We do limit the height for a new detached. So if they were to build a new detached accessory structure, ADU, they are limited in height. However, the conversion of any existing structure is not capped by height because it's existing. So if they built it and 10 years down the road, they did want to turn it into an ADU, they could in theory do it. But then you get, if it's attached to the house, it can be the same height as the house. So there are different mechanisms depending on the type of ADU that you'd want to construct, on what you have to follow. And that all comes straight from state law. And so we really don't have much purview on ADUs, and the state law changes every year and becomes less and less restrictive.
Yeah.
So if 10 years from now, the laws are probably going to be even less restrictive than we have today.
No setbacks. Yeah. So can
Yeah,
you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt 6.5 conditional use permit to allow the replacement of an existing garage with the new 1,750 square footage height.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now last item, item 6.6, tentative map and site and architectural review, extension for San Juan Crossings, a mixed-use development located at 4th Street and Graff Road. Staff report, please.
The item before you tonight is the extension of a previously approved project. It is located at San Juan Road and Graff. It's referred to as San Juan Crossings. This is the diagram of what it was approved as, 132 multifamily apartments with a little over 5,000 square feet of commercial space on the ground floor. And you can see it on the left of your screen with the tall blue windows. The project was again approved 2 years ago. Our projects expire after 2 years, and if you wanted to move forward, you need to request an extension. The applicant is working towards constructing this project. It would bring much needed apartments into the city. With the time that is required to come up with construction drawings, the cost of construction drawings, financing of these larger projects, 2 years really isn't enough time. They will always need more. That's why we keep seeing requests for extensions. So this is much like all the other requests for extensions we've seen. The request for an extension is exempt from CEQA. This project provides a unique opportunity for the city. It's apartments, which we do need. It's a housing type that we are lacking in. It will be new apartments. We have the opportunity for mixed use in the area. We'll have the ground floor commercial space, which could include any type of retail. They do have outdoor patio space as part of the project, so it could be a unique cafe, restaurant, coffee shop that would provide some amenities for the surrounding neighborhood. And again, we are likely to see more requests for extensions. Financing is difficult to obtain. It does take a while to get from planning commission approval to actually going under construction. The way our code reads is that your planning entitlement is will expire if you haven't pulled a building permit. So even getting through the building process can take a while. So they are requesting the extension. Again, you have your standard 4 options. The DRC did review this project and had no required changes to the project, and planning is recommending approval of the extension of both the map and the SNA.
So is that whole area going to be, sorry, open up the public hearing first. Item 6.6 at 7:35. Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, bringing it back, closing the hearing again at 7:36. Any thoughts or questions, commissioners? I have some questions.
This is the first time the map is being presented?
No, it was approved 2 years ago. This is just an extension. The Subdivision Map Act limits tentative maps to 2 years, and then our code limits both the SNA and the map to 2 years. No, they're not proposing any changes. It's exactly the same project. They just need more time.
That's a pretty well-needed change in that area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do have to add, you're gonna beautiful project. I mean, just beautiful project. I think.
Does it meet your 15% housing, affordable housing?
I think it's 15%, right?
This was approved before the inclusionary ordinance, so they're locked into the old code.
I mean, irregardless, I think the mixed use. I like the mixed use corridor. I think it's something that's needed, walkable. I mean, something that I desperately. I think the West Side corridor. This is my vision. For the.
Yeah, mixed use creates commerce automatic.
Yeah.
From the top, from the renters and the properties. And I would imagine these are like, I didn't look in too much detail, but the size of these units and stuff, they're apartments. So there, yeah, it's by square foot, you're looking at obviously more affordable than the average market rate.
Is the applicant's not here? Okay. Yeah, I think the project's great.
Happy to answer questions. I just didn't see a need to speak to anything.
I think the project's great. Just want
We want to bring him up. Recognize him.
I mean, if we have any questions, if you can come up.
Dialogue. Sorry.
I understand. I just wanted to raise my hand and say.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So if you can come up, sir, please.
Sure.
And so I'm remembering that property. I was like, wait, where is that? It's right next to Quick Stop.
It's across the street.
Across the street.
Across the street from Quick Stop.
I'm Dan Shaw. I'm the manager of San Juan Crossings LLC, group of investors that has been working with Erica, staff. Construction financing is incredibly difficult, as she stated, but we're working on a phase plan right now to be able to get part of it under. That's why the tentative map was important originally. Normally, you don't have a tentative map project for a project like this, but it was 5 separate parcels. It's being changed to 3 parcels, 1 for each structure, which allows a structure to be permitted, built, and converted and occupied and then converted to long-term financing, allowing you to go on to a phase 2 and a phase 3. So that's why there's a T-map attached to what would normally just be a site and architectural approval. So, and sir, you had another question?
Just that you're here. just for the record, is there anything that what can the city do to also help you move this along? Is there anything that the city can do? Is there anything that, it's an appropriate question. I just kind of want,
You could just waive all fees for everything. It would be fabulous. Then they would have to work for free at the city instead of minimum wage. So, no, Erica has been helpful. I took this project over last fall from another manager, and there was a change in the family structure, so to speak, or the directors and the people involved in it changed. And since that time, she's been very helpful. I'm engaged with a couple different contractors right now. So at this point in time, I don't need anything from staff. And when I have requested items, they've been very prompt to respond. Phone calls, email answers, Zoom calls, etc. They've been fabulous. I have nothing to complain about.
What is the current use of that property?
It's vacant.
It's actually been the staging grounds for granite construction for the last 7 months for building the roundabout. So that's where their trucks, their traffic diverters, their pipe, their spoils, their rock, all that has been stored I entered an agreement with them with the help of Public Works, reached out to me and connected them with us so that they could use that as a safe staging area for their construction of the roundabout, which is complete. I've driven through it a couple times. That's probably all you have. It's wonderful. So that's I'm glad that part got done.
So, and the commercial side, do you already have prospective leaseholders?
None at all at this point. We can't really commit to anyone because we don't have a time frame. But the very front corner at the roundabout is where the 5,300 square feet, I think it is. It's right around 5,000 to 6,000 square feet.
It's like it's 5,259.
Like I said, about 5,300 is right in the front corner at the roundabout for signage and visibility reasons. And then there's a number of fairly stringent parking calculations which are on the project to make sure that we have parking to accommodate that commercial retail use, especially with parking places that are signed and permitted not for apartment tenants during certain hours, so that because if you put a commercial use in an apartment complex and then can't provide them parking, they'll be out of business in no time because people don't want to park way far away from the front door. So we've been through this with staff, and part of the design of this building is that there is what I consider like half basement parking underneath the building. So they're not full basement, but they're half basement, which lifts the first floor of the apartments about 6 feet off of ground level, which provides an additional security measure for the people in those apartments because they're not right at sidewalk level for people walking by. So it lifts them up, their deck up a little bit, and allowed us to get more density on the site by utilizing partially underground parking. So the thought went into it a couple of years ago. It just takes time, and the financing market the last couple of years has been difficult.
How many potential commercial tenants can you have at the site?
It's planned to be 2 tenants. I think it could be more than that, but the initial concept was to make sure that it's all in one place and they're next to each other, adjacent to each other, complementary in that area. So I think very early on, somebody talked to us about a daycare, childcare facility in there because that's it's needed in the west side over there for people who are have 2 working peoples in their as a head of their households. So somebody talked to us very early on about that, but there's been no further conversations with anybody about any particular uses. But there is we have an area in the landscape designed to accommodate any outdoor seating. So we do have that available.
I saw you had rooftop terraces in almost all 3 of the buildings. So
yeah, that's actually to comply with the amount of common space we need to provide. So in any application for multifamily, you've got to provide common space, and many of the design projects in today's world are utilizing the rooftops as space for that common area. And sometimes it's a lot privater. People go up there, you know, it's a much more enjoyable private common space than sitting out on 4th Street, you know, at a table with everybody going by and honking their horns or, you know, traffic, whatever else. So we do have that up there, and that brought the project into compliance 2 years ago with the common area requirements. And there's a child little playground lot and some other things like that that are all part of the common area.
And most of the units are 2 bedrooms?
It's a mix of 2 and 1 bedrooms.
2 and 1 bedrooms, you said?
Yeah, it's a mix of about 50% 2 bedrooms, 50% 1 bedrooms.
Okay, thank you.
So are we good? Yeah. Thank you for
sir.
answering those questions.
No
sir.
problem.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Sounds good. Can I get us? Oh, we need to close the public hearing.
Did that?
Yeah, what time is it? 7:45. Close the public hearing. Yeah, if I can get a motion for, so you made, so,
I'll make a motion for the tentative map 2023-2 and the site architectural review 2023-4 for an extension.
and a second.
I'll second.
Can, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved 4-0. Thank you very much. Thank you for your answering our questions, sir. Any information or reports?
I do have one for you.
Sure.
We received certification on our
Erica?
housing element. So our
Oh,
housing
Erica?
element is now certified.
Sorry, this is the first part's for the commissioner reports, and then it's the
sorry.
planning division.
Let's plan. Oh yeah, planning division reports is next. I don't have anything to report. The commissioners, you guys have anything to report? Okay, now, so you had a report.
Yes, sorry.
So we'll move on to
Our housing element has been certified by the state. So we are now fully certified.
Awesome. Awesome. So that that's it for the reports. If I can get a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We'll have it next time.